Morning, Trainiacs. Slightly large day today. As we're getting into the meat of challenge Roth training, apparently full Ironman distance training is it's pretty sizable. We've got like 2 hours 45 minutes on a weekday of training. I think I barely even have a job. Early on, for probably the first 3 years of doing triathlon, I battled cramps, really hard cramps in the front of my quads, in my stomach, in my calves, everywhere. It was tough. A lot of people, a lot of you, as you start racing, will experience the same thing. Now here's the thing with this. Almost all of you are going to be told at some point that it's a nutritional issue. It is, but mostly it isn't. So I am going to talk about the true reasons for cramping in a race and training and how to overcome it today, if I make it through the training. That workout on the board, I was like, 3,600 meters? That ain't much. Well, 3,600 meters of one chamber filled in the Eenie Boy pull boy, and 2 chambers filled in the Eenie Boy pull boy, and vertical kick. My legs hurt. I can see why it was so short. I was like 2 minutes per 100 average. But fortunately, I didn't cramp because I know the secret sauce to not cramping. Let's talk about it. So historically, we've all been told that cramps are due to either dehydration or a lack of electrolytes. That's not really the case. If you can go and just accomplish a basic proficiency of triathlon nutrition, for which I would recommend just going to triathlontaren.com/triathlon nutrition guide, check, you're done. It isn't that much more complicated than that. I mean, sure, there are like fine-tuning final 5 or 10% little bits, but that alone is going to avoid almost all major causes of nutritional cramps. But here's the strange thing. You might just accomplish that solid nutrition plan and still get cramps. So if it's not dehydration and it's not electrolytes, what is the real serious cause of cramps and how do you avoid it? We got to get into the pain cave to show you that. You know, I once had a dream Taren. If you ever own a company, here are some rules for that company. And number 1 on that was only drink coffee or other drinks out of fun mugs. That's a pretty fun mug. Mission accomplished. So if it's not the traditionally known lack of electrolytes or fluids that cause cramps, well, what is it? What they believe it is now with current science is that it's your body's way of basically slowing you down. So what's happening is you are getting yourself into a intensity or a duration of working out that is new for your body. It's challenging for your body, and your body is saying, holy smokes, if he keeps going or she keeps going, I'm gonna get injured here. So cramping is your body's way of saying, time to shut down, or I might get hurt. But you're a long way away from getting hurt. So you've got to get over those cramps and get through it because you got to get to the finish line of a race. So how you deal with that is one of 2 ways. First, I'll straightforward, traditional way that I would recommend is you gotta train for it. This is not rocket science here. If your body is not used to going race pace or race duration, you gotta start training it to go race pace and race duration. So that's why you see me in here on days going really, really intense with the shorter workouts. That's why you see me in here doing 3-hour bike rides with a bunch of race intensity and then hopping onto the treadmill. I'm doing this basically to get myself into that final 5 to 10% of a workout where it's like really fatiguing and simulates the experiences, the sensations, the fatigue that I'm going to have in a race. You can't just kind of namby-pamby your way around training and then show up to race day and all of a sudden decide, bam, I'm gonna hit it real hard here because we race the way that we train. So that's just not gonna happen. You're gonna cramp, you're not gonna have a good experience. However, there is one trick that I've found that is kind of scientifically proven to snap people out of cramps if they start. So how this idea that the lack of electrolytes is the cause of cramping is due to the fact that often people would do something like, I don't have it here, but they would fill up a tube of either their electrolyte powder or just straight salt, take that tube, shake it, and lick their thumb, get some of that salt on their thumb, lick that, and it would solve the cramps. So people were like, oh, well, it must be due to a lack of electrolytes. But here, we end up having pickle juice come out, or things like organic ginger zinger, or something like a hot shot, or what I use fairly successfully in Puerto Rico, CrampFix. Now these are all very, very salty, but they're all really, really strong tastes, and that is more what the secret sauce is. It's not necessarily that you need to take in vinegar or a bunch of salt, a bunch of electrolytes, or anything like that that you've really messed up on. What this is actually accomplishing is it's resetting your neuromuscular system in the brain, which basically just kind of gets itself into a lull of I'm in pain, I'm in pain, I'm in pain, I'm in pain, I'm in pain. And it starts going down this track of you gotta start shutting down, gotta start shutting down. This theory is that it reawakens the body, and when you have something like CrampFix that also adds in a whole bunch of electrolytes, which we do actually sweat out, it replenishes some of that. So what you want to do to avoid cramps is first get your basics right and go to triathlontaren.com/triathlon nutrition guide to alleviate a lot of the nutritional deficiencies that you might build up that might cause cramps. Second, you want to train pretty hard. In the last 6 to 8 weeks before the race, you want to do a lot of race simulations. You want to do probably 6 or so race simulation days where you're going as long, if not longer than your bike, with a fair bit of race intensity and running off of it at race intensity as well. And then next, if you really want to step it up and give yourself like a lifeline, if you start feeling cramps come in, if you've tried something like CrampFix in those race simulation days and you know that it sits okay in your stomach, maybe put this in your jersey pocket, and if you feel a cramp coming on in the race, maybe towards the end of the bike or on the run, pop one of these. If you know that it works in training, it's gonna work okay in the race. All right, Trainiacs, go do all of that and avoid cramps. Petey's just so excited, oh boy. All right, later, Trainiacs.